high praise.
He said I can walk you through this and this will inspire violence or people question could be evil. He's like, no.
Oh, are we live? I think we are live. Yeah, I think I just got a shout that we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Early Late Night Live Show on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 on Exeter Channel 98 and on our YouTube channel, the Early Late Night Live Show YouTube channel. Please make sure to like and subscribe and click the little notification bell and send it to your friends and enemies alike. But before we get going, I want to, instead of a monologue, I want to show you a little video to tell you a little bit about what we did this weekend. So let's roll that footage. We'll be right back.
I was about to come up, but I was just like,
all right.
You know what? I want to see how.
I want a shot of these five here, okay? And one of the girls ain't even girlies are dope. All right, five. Hey. Hi guys. We're gonna start from. Isn't it? We're at a little. Let's do this again. All right.
Splendid, Hannah. There'll be a bonus in next week's check.
Oh, enjoying themselves.
Oh, hey boys. Hi, sir. Just a card game, sir.
A very lively game, sir, of poker.
Poker. Yeah.
Well, he's not a particularly good player, sir.
Some people just. Oh. Hi, sir.
Good evening and welcome to the Early Late Night Live Show. We are on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 on Exeter Channel 98 and on our YouTube channel, the Early Late Night Live Show YouTube channel. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and submit to your friends, enemies, and family alike. Hello to Bob Turnjoe, who is in the house. And hello to Kate Eppers, who is in the comments section. She said, best weekend ever. So that I just want to give a shout out, a thank you to Kate Eppers. She actually filmed and edited that video. She edited it 3 times for us to make sure it was appropriate for the show. Long story short,
she's the
anyways,
best.
She's the best, and she really, that video was a nice little behind the scenes from what we did over the weekend, which is we filmed one of the first episodes of the series called Felsen & Company, which follows the dinner party, which we will be releasing very soon. Hello, Renee Bergeron, who said, yay, I finally got a Wednesday night free.
Yay!
Yes, yes. So
we're going to be talking about you tonight.
We're going to be talking about Renee Bergeron. We're going to be talking about everyone. We're going to be talking about the weekend later on in the show. We got Len Demmings, who's coming in to talk about Spin the Plate. But more importantly, Sitting with me always, unfortunately, is my sister KJ.
Hey.
Hello. You're here.
I'm here.
Yes, and you cut your hair.
I did. It's a lot shorter than it was actually this weekend.
I'm not really caring all that much about
Okay.
that. Mitch, your hair still stayed the same.
Actually, no, I did cut the back of it.
You did cut
It's,
the
yeah,
back
it's
of
because it was
Okay,
getting a little
would you guys
gnarly.
talk to each other or something
So,
like that about that?
I did it first.
Oh,
and then
okay.
Wow.
I don't know
Wow.
if she.
They just sort of followed
whatever.
suit. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Anyways.
The fact that you were both here and because you didn't kill each other after this weekend is pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah, no, it was fine. We were too busy working to do that. I don't think, okay, so just so you guys know, we had the biggest shoot Narrow Shoot Films has ever done this weekend with close to 100 people involved.
I think
it was
so,
this
yeah.
weekend, between Saturday and Sunday, between the extras and the stuntmen and the crew. It was really quite crazy. We filmed at the Kent House in Chester, New Hampshire, which is a bed and breakfast, which worked for one location. Then we filmed at a horse farm for the second location on Sunday, and everyone in the show, actually, Mitch was there, Dan Graham was there, Ryan was there, Jack, who unfortunately is sick, so if the show seems a little haphazard because our director is unfortunately sick, so hopefully he gets better. But me and KJ were working for months setting this up, and we worked all day Friday, and thank you to Bob Turner who showed up Friday to help us set up the set. But we were too busy. I think we had one argument about where one character should go.
It wasn't even an argument. I said no. You were like, why? And I said, because. And you said, okay. It wasn't even that much of an
Well, it
argument.
wasn't even that much.
That's awesome.
Which I really appreciate because you coordinated all this stuff for him to do. And I promised Krista Video we're going to give you a much bigger part in the next episode because poor Krista Video didn't have much to do.
He came in and said like 2 lines, and I said, oh, I'll put him in the fight scene.
And then he was on the wrong side of the room, and I said, he can't stand there, he's going to go over there. And it just ruined everything.
And
So
the point,
sorry,
he
Chris.
had no fight. He had all this
Yeah.
fight choreography, and his dad did the fight choreography. His dad got his part. Imagine being upped by your dad in a movie scene.
No, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Sorry, Chris.
Be interesting.
Sorry.
Well, we're going to talk more about this later in the
We'll talk about this
Yes,
later
yes.
because we got news.
We're very excited. So
For sure. So the box office, not a lot going on for the most part, but Abominable, I guess it's an animation.
Oh,
right.
yeah, I've heard of
About
that.
the
Yeah.
Abominable
With
film.
Universal, and so they opened up this weekend with 20 million, domestically anyways. And but some of the notables from the last couple of weeks, we had It Chapter 2. We had a budget of actually 79 million, which was not listed on here. It hasn't been for several weeks. So, but they are already third all-time horror film
Wow. Do you know behind
for
what? Never mind.
It actually, the
Oh,
first
okay.
one, and then what was the other one?
79 million is not a big, man, that's a big budget for a horror movie, but it's not really a big budget in general, though.
79 million. No,
Yeah, it's not a big budget.
No, it's
really.
big for a horror movie.
It's very big for a
Yeah.
movie, yeah.
But they've already made their money back, globally, anyways. So in that regards, Rambo: Last Blood. Finally, they had a $50 million budget, and they finally met that at 53
I'm told it's
worldwide. So
I'm told it was awful.
yeah, I haven't seen any reviews yet, actually.
Yeah.
So
No, my friend Chris Dewey, he checked out and he said it was just terrible. And he says, I love bloody revenge flicks. This was just awful.
yeah,
He said, I should have gone to see Downton Abbey. I was like,
Yeah, that's,
ouch.
yeah. And he went with his wife to see Downton Abbey. She said, just go see Rambo.
Nice.
And I think he preferred Downton Abbey, which says something,
Yeah.
Kate Epper says, oh my God, Arnie, your hair. I got a haircut yesterday too. Love, what is with you guys?
Yeah. You look great. I bet she looks great too. I was gonna say you look great too, but I haven't actually seen you. But I bet you look great. But thank you.
After the shoot, I was warned
I
not
need
to get a
glasses.
haircut, actually. Because my girlfriend likes my hair long like this, apparently.
Just don't let it grow too much longer. I mean, I love you, Hannah, but no.
Yeah, no, I started doing this Bozo the Clown thing.
yeah, that's what happens to me.
Yes.
So and then I put a hat on, and it starts to wrap around the hat.
Yes, it starts bursting.
get
It
this,
starts
like,
bursting out of the seams of the
ski
hat.
slope on the back of your head.
Yeah, it looks like I got electrocuted while wearing a hat.
You look like curly top. No, not curly top. Was it carrot top?
Carrot top, I do.
Carrot
Yes,
top, yeah.
my hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Curly top, huh?
Curly top or Shirley Temple?
Shirley
I
Temple.
look like curly top, but it was too short.
Curly temple.
all right. Anyways,
I finally found out. Remember we were talking about Downton Abbey and we were trying to figure out what the budget was,
Yes.
and it was like I said it was like 15 to 60 million or something like that.
Right.
It's actually been narrowed down to 13 to 20 million now.
that's how much
So-
it was.
Wow.
The budget.
Okay.
They made
So
yeah.
how much did it make this?
They are still on the list, actually, on number 2 at 58 domestically. I think they did like 49 in the rest of the world, so they've definitely made some money.
Made some.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some pay for all those costumes. I think.
That's unbelievable with all the worldwide fame that had. I mean, you think You think it would have done more?
It came out of the gate really strong, you know,
Yeah.
but
I'm actually surprised it's done this well because it's really the resale that I think they're going to be planning on making most of their money off of. Like
Right.
this is a nice
Yeah, I
bonus,
think-
but I'm pretty sure they're selling teacups with the Downton
Right.
Abbey thing, and that's really
True.
getting
And I
Here,
think
Rump
they'll probably
says,
do pretty well
hello.
streaming.
I cut my hair for the fair fight. For those of you who don't know, Pierre
Yeah,
Rump is
he
bald.
has
All
no hair,
right, what else we got?
Stay
in the
tuned,
news?
guys. We are going to talk about the fair fight after.
But we got to get
fourth
through the
quarter.
news.
Yeah.
So,
So Jack Nicholson, I'm sure everybody knows, in the oh my goodness,
Shining?
Thank you.
yes.
The lights are just really too bright right now. I think.
Yes, yeah, a photo. If you don't know
Here's
who
a photo.
this is, you know, if you see this man, let us know. Okay.
And
More
stay
importantly,
away.
probably let the
Oh,
cops
there
know.
he is.
Actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we got a video. Cool. So the axe that he's holding was actually put up in auction out in somewhere overseas, and it sold for 170,000 pounds, which
Wow.
I guess is a little over $200,000.
That's a lot of money
Yeah.
for an axe.
For an axe.
Do we have the video that was in the link?
No,
You don't know the
we didn't
video?
have that. No,
Okay.
but it's actually really cool. So for our viewing audience, so Jack Nicholson's getting ready for this role where he starts pounding on the door, and they've got him throwing the axe and hitting the door from the far side before he actually pokes his head through with that famous line.
Right.
But and he's jumping up and down, getting himself psyched,
Mm-hmm.
which I've actually done on stage before. Literally, I've run around a building and I've jumped up and down. I've done jumping jacks just to get my energy up.
Right.
And so he's using that technique before that scene, and this is a kind of a behind-the-scenes video. It's in the article that I'm sure Ryan has posted. So
Yeah,
check it out.
I've done that too. That's just because I hurt myself, so that was all.
Ow, my toe. Ow, ow,
ow,
ow,
hop up and down.
Yeah, I'll do that too. Like if the character's supposed to be walking in, I'll be like bouncing up and down on my toes before walking in, so I look suitably breathless.
Suitably.
Suitably breathless. Yeah, you fake being breathless without actually being breathless.
I can, but I make myself dizzy, so I'd rather just really be breathless.
Congratulating.
And it's called acting. But anyways, what else we got in the news?
I don't. Death on the Nile. I think we talked about this a
yeah.
while back, and I don't know much about the film, but the cast has been announced. So we have Godot,
Gail Gadot.
Gail Godot, and Armie Hammer
Wow.
have been announced, and then a bunch of other people who I don't know, but.
I am so excited about this movie.
yeah,
if you don't mind me
so
taking it
not
for a
at all,
second.
yeah.
No, because it's Kenneth Branagh once again.
Yeah, and
Kenneth
he's
Branagh, that's
coming
right.
back as Poirot.
And director, right?
He's directing and starring in it. I don't know how many of you saw the first movie that he was in, which was Murder on the Orient Express, but that was really good. This
Agatha
one,
Christie, right?
Yeah, it's Agatha Christie. This is another Agatha Christie. So it's got Armie Hammer, Russell Brand, and it's got
Russell Brand.
Jennifer Saunders and Dawn French. And for all the Anglophiles out there, it's French and Saunders. They're that slapstick duo. They have like this super long running series.
You have Russell Brand,
Yep.
the slapstick duo,
Yep.
and Wonder Woman, all in the same movie.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of
Right.
other, really top name actors like Tom Bateman and Rose Leslie, who's from Downton Abbey, and anyway, it just looks really fantastic.
I'm really
Cool.
excited. I never
It's kind of a
saw
neat cast.
I never saw Murder on the Orient Express, but I do want to check it out.
But I've seen like 3 versions of this movie, so I'm really excited to see what they do.
Well, it's clearly based on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that having a star-studded cast is not a guarantee to success, but
Yeah.
but it.
I think
we'll see.
they've
Agatha
learned that
Christie.
a few times.
Anyways, hey, we gotta cut the break. We're gonna cut to a little clip for our guest tonight from Spin the Plate. Is it a clip or a trailer?
It's a clip from Spin the Plate
Yep.
of Len doing his thing as a lawyer.
Len doing his thing as Laura. So we'll right back with the Early Late Night Live show and our guest Len Demings. Here's a clip from Spin the Plate. Right back.
We got what you want.
He's going to admit he's guilty?
Sort of. Not to the rape of a child or sexual battery. He's admitting to having knowledge of tapes involving sex in a minor.
So he didn't admit that he raped me? No. Forget it. We'll just go to trial if we have to. He has to admit it or forget it.
We can do whatever you want. But if we go that route, well, you got a taste of what you'll be in for. Barbara's setting up a case of suggestibility. She's very good. Joe, when you go to trial, you put your destiny in the hands of jurors. And without showing the tapes, your father might well walk.
Okay, I wasn't giving warning about that. It's your late night live show on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 on Exeter Channel 98 and on our YouTube channel, the Early Late Night Live Show YouTube channel. Please make sure to check us out, like us, and follow us on YouTube and Facebook. And Len Demings is here from Spin the Plate, and you also got your haircut since you filmed this movie. Yeah, so
That's right.
yeah, this film, how long ago did you film
You
this?
know, we shot that. That was 2014.
We started shooting.
Wow.
We started shooting in
2014.
2014. I want to say that the scenes, most of it was 2014, 2015, and then it went into post-production sometime in 2015, didn't it, Mitch?
Yeah, and it
Something
didn't
like
really
that.
hit the, didn't really finish until 2016, I think, with ADR, all the work that had to be done.
Right. The sound booth stuff and everything like that. That
Music.
had to do to bring it up to speed. But we're very proud of it. It was, it's a great story, and about a young lady who finds redemption and spins the plate. You know, the negative in her life
Right.
is changed around to something that's really positive, and she meets somebody who helps her do that. It's a very good story, and I wish it's available on Amazon, and I'd really like a lot of people ought to see it.
All right, well,
Well, it was the film that wouldn't stop for a while. It was like spin the plates going here, spin the plates going there. I just remember it being the one that was doing very, very well in the festival. So,
Yeah.
and you know, but we do have to blame, because if it wasn't for Spinning the Plate, unfortunately, Mitch wouldn't be sitting on this couch right now.
I wouldn't be in the industry. It's the project that actually launched my career as a filmmaker, for all intents and purposes.
Oh right, yeah, because you
I came
only
on as a
recently got into
PA.
filmmaking.
Yeah, 2015. I came in the second half of the show and started as a PA, lugging stuff around, and then I started running a boom, and then I started doing assistant director stuff, and then I started doing associate producer stuff. And by the end of the film, I felt like a pro. But, you know,
He
and I'm
was a
like,
pro.
why am I not doing this with the rest of my life? And then it was my first screen role as well. So, I mean, that film really, I got involved with everything, and it was awesome. But this isn't about me. But it's about the film. It did get into 7 film festivals, and we're hoping our last one in Arlington on October 12th at the Lonely Seal Festival.
So how did you get involved in the project, Len?
In this project, I got a call from Eric Eastman and Tom Anastasia. They knew me from the work that I'd done in theater in southern New Hampshire, and they asked me if I'd come in and do a reading for it and the camera shots, and see if I could play the role of this lawyer who helps her get justice. And they liked it. And we went forward from that.
Have you had much film experience since or before?
A little bit, yeah. I've done like, do some commercials, done a little bit of this and that here and there. So I've done some, but mostly I was, especially at that time, 2014, I'd done a lot of stage stuff, but I had not done much on film. A
Now,
little bit.
before the show, you mentioned you wanted to do a special episode about Shakespeare. So
Don't get me started.
So I am stuck right now between someone who has read Shakespeare, all right, and people who have read Shakespeare, I'm assuming, and people I've known who've read Shakespeare, and people who've also performed Shakespeare. I've barely watched Shakespeare in the film version, let alone...
Mitch told me that.
It's all Mitch's fault. So
I told him your answer would be Shake who?
Shake who? Yeah. So out of all the performances that you've done, what would you say is your favorite character that you've gotten to play, either on stage or in film?
I've got several that I really liked. I had the great fortune last year to get to play Colonel Nathan Jessup in A Few Good Men.
Oh wow!
So I did that for Milford area players, and then also
Another Jack Nicholson role.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't handle the
You
truth.
can't handle
That's
the
right.
truth, yeah.
And
role.
and last year I got to play 2 bucket list roles, and the other one was Willy Loman in Death of a Salesman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
So I
that's
really had that is a tremendous opportunity, first of all, but just the idea of being able to do it, and it's very challenging.
Yes.
So challenging with what he does. So those are 2 of my favorite. They're very recent, but they're a lot. I got to play George and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf,
And All My Sons,
Joe Keller.
Joe Keller. I mean, he's had some, which he won a Best Actor award for Joe Keller, right?
I did.
Yeah,
Wow.
the New Hampshire Theatre Awards.
So, what was the first role you played in your What was your first experience of performance?
Ever?
Yeah. What was the
That
was
would
the
be
thing
fifth grade at
Yeah,
Immaculate
yeah.
Heart of Mary
You were a
Elementary
tree,
School
right?
in Lansing, Michigan,
Yeah.
where I got to
Like-
be. It was a Christmas play, and I got to be the lead. I was the one who found the bean in the cake or some damn thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
that.
like, was that the thing that like sparked you? Said I want to get into this.
No, I got sparked to be interested in this actually as a senior in high school. I had a wonderful drama teacher. Her name was Kate Vile, and she introduced me to and immersed me in theater, and I became very. It was an experience to me completely foreign, but I just loved it. And so I had a bunch of roles that I did during senior year in high school. And then I went into the Marines, and they didn't have a lot of theater, except the theater of operation
Right, yeah, exactly.
that you were in. And then after that, in college, I did a bunch of stuff in Lansing. I went to Michigan State and did some things there. And then I took time off. Then life got in the way, and I didn't do anything until my wonderful wife, Jill, in 2002, got tired of hearing me talk about having been in plays back in the old days. And she said, "Why don't you go audition?" So I did, and then I've had a succession of roles since then.
Now, so you were in the Corps.
I was.
So you are a Marine.
I am.
Yep. Did that help you with your performance as Colonel Nathan Jessup? Would you say, did you meet a colonel that was anything like that? Because my father is a former Marine, and he particularly is fond of that role, you know, of that character.
You know, a lot of people criticize. There are various ideas about Colonel Nathan Jessup, and in my bio that I wrote for the program, I said, you know. Some people think he was right, some people think he was wrong. But one thing you can count on is that you can sleep tonight because he's up on that wall.
Right, yeah.
And that was my attitude. That's what I took to that role. Just saying that Colonel Nathan Jessup is a man who knows what he wants, who knows what his mission is.
Yep.
It is to have his Marines be ready, and that they do that. When you're in the Marines, you better be ready, or you aren't around. You're out. So I had a great deal of empathy for Nathan Jessup, and I think being in the Marines did help me. In fact, being in the Marines helped because the director, Stephen Post, had me drilling people around the stage. You know, I was literally calling cadence and having them march around the stage and like that to get everybody, and they were sharp. They came. I had them. Oh, they were.
Well, you're a Marine. It makes sense. You know?
It did. I mean, and they looked like Marines. I had a fellow actor, a friend on Facebook, who saw one of the pictures had the two main guys who were on trial, standing there at attention, and they were in a perfect thing. And he said, "Wow, perfect. Thumbs to the sides, V thing, looking straight forward, and like that."
Nice.
He said they looked good, and so we had them looking good. It was a lot of fun.
My father talks about being ran till he was sweating to a point where he almost threw up in boot camp. He says, and there was this little sergeant that was running beside him the entire time, didn't sweat a drop, and was screaming in my face every mile that I ran. He said,
It's an experience. It's a one-time experience, and really, the Marines are a brotherhood. Every time they say Semper Fi to each other, because we all know. We all know what that process is.
Funny you mentioned that. The reason I'm finding this interesting is I was actually scrolling through Facebook looking at the news and stuff like that, and there's a movie coming out called Semper Fi, which I was thinking, I gotta look at the trailer for this. I'm curious what this is about. But anyways, off from the Marine topic. All right. Okay. All right. What would be the one role now moving forward you would say I would love to play that role, either on screen or on stage? If there was an ultimate role, it could be the genie from Aladdin for all I care. Like, what would be your ultimate role?
You know, I haven't even thought about it. I was so immersed in doing those two, I'd have to really think about it, and that's sort of a question out of the blue for me. There are so many great roles out there, and I'm really trying to focus now on perhaps doing film rather than stage, because of my age, because I did a lot of theater work, some theater work, not a lot, but some theater training work with a acting guru by the name of Tom Todoroff, who is in New York, and major actors across the country around the world swear by him. Liam Neeson. There's another one I'm trying to think. I can't think of her name. Sophie's Choice.
Oh my gosh, her name just went out.
I'm sure
Meryl
she
Streep.
knows Meryl Streep.
So,
okay.
So, and they swear by him, and we did some work with him, and he made the comment to the group that we were at. He said, you know, here this person is, here he's at this age, and he said, and it's perfect because at his age, everybody his age, either they're working, they're not available, or they're already doing something, and they need guys my age. So I'm looking to do a little bit more of that if I can. And so any role that works in that way, I'm interested in. It's everything is a challenge. Everything is so different. So
It's no fun if it's not a challenge. Then.
Pardon?
Well, I would say as an artist, it's no fun if it's not a challenge. I mean, it's not-
absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a chance to do that. I did this. You go from these different roles. I did this little bit in an investigation discovery has what's called a crime to remember. At least they used to. I don't think they're doing it anymore. But
They did 5 seasons at least at this point.
they had 5 seasons of it, 5 or 6 seasons, and I had one little role in one of those where I'm like this lab geek, and I come in and I'm doing this thing, and it's just a weird, different role that I wasn't used to, but I had a lot of fun doing it.
It is interesting where everything comes from someone's vision, and I see you in this part. And there's always you always get that as an actor. At one point, you'll go, how the hell do you see that in me? Like, I have never seen that in me at all. But now you can, sure, I guess if you're bringing me on, why not try it?
That's right.
Yeah, but you're sticking around for Trailer Trash, correct?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the one question you like to ask all of our guests, are we going to get the opportunity to do that, or are we going to wait till later?
What?
Because I prepped him, but I didn't prep him. I didn't tell him what it was, but I said it was a surprise. What's the one piece of advice?
Yeah, here.
Oh yeah, what's one piece of advice? You're right. Yeah, what would be the one piece of advice? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mitch, yeah. What is the one piece of advice you'd say to someone out there who's interested in becoming an actor?
I would say don't waste your time doing anything you don't want to do.
Amen to that.
I would say just go do it,
Right.
and don't second self. Get as much training as you can because you can't get enough. But if you're going to go do it, just do it, and don't second guess yourself, because it's funny. You look at the tremendous breadth of film, especially now that's on TV. When I was growing up, you had 3 channels: ABC, CBS, and NBC, right? And that's what you had. A little bit of PBS there.
Right.
But now, Netflix, Amazon, the breadth of opportunity
Right.
that's out there, that all you've got to do is just go out and say you're going to do it, and just go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the opportunity is there. You just have to find it.
That's right. Just follow your heart and do it. Don't waste your time with doing things you don't want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, life's too short for that, especially with the art.
Absolutely.
There's enough things in life we don't want to do that we have to do. Don't make your art one of those things.
And be yourself. I guess that's a thing I always think about when talking about be yourself. You can't be Dustin Hoffman. You can't be Meryl Streep. You can't be these other people. You can be you, and you bring yourself first and foremost. And just remember that. So.
That's true, because I was talking about Jack Nicholson earlier, and I made the comment that in a lot of his movies he plays Jack Nicholson, which is entirely appropriate because they put him there because he's Jack Nicholson.
Right.
So be yourself, and people will need that.
Yeah.
I think. Anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely be yourself, unless you're Arnie. But
Yes,
okay.
then be somebody else.
All right, anyways, we'll be back with the Early Late Night Live show on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8. Thank you, Len Demings. He's going to be sticking around for
Absolutely.
Trailer Trash, and that's what we'll be right back with. Talk to you soon.
What's going on? Oh, hey, we're starting a new show.
I'm hosting. So are we. I even wore my suit.
Yeah, we thought at this point it would be probably a little bit better to aim at a younger audience, so we hired Kate. And then.
Wait, them? Our names are them?
Shut up.
Except we won't talk sports, we're not gonna talk politics, just entertainment.
That's the same as my show.
Or not that original.
Get out.
Stay.
Terry, this is my show.
Want to keep your job?
You're fired.
What?
I'm here.
Show's canceled.
Really quick, Kate Epper says to Len Demings, "Thank you for your service and looking forward to the movie." So,
Thank you for that.
This is our favorite segment of the show, Trailer Trash. And what is the first trailer we have up, Arnie?
1917.
All right.
Roll that footage, please.
Is that a year?
It is a year.
It is a year.
It was once a year.
Once a year, it's not a year no more.
Once a year.
That's the year that we got involved in this war, I believe. Anyway, so 1917 is a movie coming out Christmas this year. It stars Andrew Scott, Richard Madden, Benedict Cumberbatch, Mark Strong, Colin Firth, and a host of other people. And it's about two young British soldiers, I can't speak tonight, who are given an impossible mission, deliver a message deep in enemy territory that will stop their own men from walking straight into a deadly trap. It's directed by Sam Mendes, who did James Bond, and it was written by him as well.
Oh, really? So yeah, he did Skyfall, Road to Perdition, and he did Spectre as well, actually. So.
Wow.
I've not seen Spectre, but I really loved Skyfall. I thought that was a good movie.
Yes. Very good director, Sam Mendes. So, to me, looking at this, the first thought that came to mind is Sam Mendes wants to be Christopher Nolan with this movie.
It does have a lot of Dunkirk about it.
It feels very Dunkirk, especially that opening shot is very similar to a shot in Dunkirk where the beach was being bombed. I know very little about this war, to be perfectly honest. So I don't know if it's based on a real thing or if it's accurate or whatever. There's definitely some interesting visuals in it. I like the way it's shot, not a lot of shaking camera. It really feels like you can immerse yourself in this. Some of the imagery,
that they just showed is
the
really
shot they just showed of like the guy crawling through the water of bodies is just, the scale is very vivid in this. So, I don't know. I'm definitely interested in this, and I like the director. So, Mitch, your thoughts on this?
Watching the trailer, I noticed how very little dialogue there was, but yet right from the get-go, you know what this movie's about. You know what the risk is. You know what's at stake with this film, and then of course the story is based in a war setting, which I love war movies, but I wouldn't call myself an aficionado necessarily. But it did look pretty interestingly shot. I didn't notice Cumberbatch in it the first time I watched it, but I'm like, oh, cool.
So he's hiding behind a mustache.
Yeah. So
quite a magnificent mustache.
I would love.
It looks like a Hitler mustache. To be perfectly honest, that's what it looks like. Wrong war.
But I love him as an actor. So I mean, I probably see it. I'll definitely watch it, probably just for him, for that alone. But I really liked it as a trailer because I knew what was at stake. I knew what it was about, and it caught my interest. So,
Len, your thoughts?
It looks like, it's got a great cast. It looks like the cinematography is great, and that you're going to get that kind of feeling that they want you to get by showing you this scene of carnage and desperation and people trying to survive. I used to be a big fan of war movies when I was younger, but I've become less so as time goes on. This reminded me of a movie that I saw maybe 30 years ago, 25 years ago, that by the end of it, it was a World War I movie. By the end of it, I was so mad and so angry, I was kicking the trash can around in my apartment. It's a movie called Gallipoli.
All right.
That's with Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson,
yeah,
right.
That's a terrible tragedy
I was just,
war.
and that was based on true events.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how true the last scene is where Mel Gibson is running down trying to get them, carrying the orders not to make the charge, and he doesn't make it. But this movie reminds me a lot of that. And I don't know if I'd want to see it, simply because of that, because my
just
own
hide the trash can.
That's right. but it looks like they've done a great job with it, so maybe I will see it.
Well, it's sort of like, to me, like Saving Private Ryan was a really good movie. I don't want to watch it again, though.
Yeah.
It's like that's an experience I just don't want to live through again.
World War I was awful.
Right.
It was just, all wars are awful, but...
This one was particularly bad because it was outdated methods with new machinery. So that's why this was so bad, this particular war. There was no good reason for it to start. So there was a bunch of treaties that clashed into each other.
Right.
and it was a family event because all the heads of state were related to each other. So it was, and it set up World War II.
Right.
Set up the devastation of Germany, which set up the coming of Hitler. So World War I is an extremely important war that reset the map, or at least set the stage for the next disaster to come.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, KJ, and there was a thing on, I want to say, the History Channel or PBS, something like that, that talked about it being the World War, the wars. In other words, that there was no
Yes.
World War I or II.
They
It
were
was
just-
really one
there was
long
a break.
war
Right.
with just a
Yeah.
breath in the middle. And because so many of the participants of World War I went on and became major participants in World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hitler, MacArthur, Churchill, all of these people.
Yeah.
So,
And
and
Churchill was involved in the
it's
Boer
a tough
War,
subject,
too.
but I think they probably handled it pretty well from what you can tell from the trailer.
Well,
So-
so what's your thoughts on this trailer, though? Because I know you had thoughts about it.
I did have thoughts about it. I can't say those thoughts.
Yes.
I was, aside from a momentary irritation, I was curiously unmoved by it. I don't know. It didn't really reach me. Midway reached me. Dunkirk reached me. The trailers. This one was kind of like, I think I'm too familiar with this war to be taken by any of the, I don't want to say romance in it, but they're trying to make it look like it's, to me, it's just like, no. World War I was a disaster. And
Right.
it should be only shown as that. And, you know.
I think we know your rating on this. So
Yeah,
what is
well,
your
I
what is
mean,
your rating on this?
But I will say this: the visuals are incredible.
Yep.
And the acting looks amazing.
Okay.
So it's not. I don't think it's going to be a terrible movie. I don't think I'm going to like it.
All right. What's your rating on this?
I'm going to give it 2, right in the middle.
Okay. So from a story standpoint, I can't really tell much of what's going on. Visual standpoint, I think we can all agree. Visually, it's definitely got a good visual feel. It reminds me kind of movies of old, war movies of old, in the way that it looks. It's not overly saturated, which is what I like from an editing standpoint. It's not overly saturated with visual effects, nor is it colorized too much with it. Heavy colorization to make things look more dramatic. This looks like you were standing right there, and this is the lighting, and this is how it looked if you were actually standing there, which I really liked. So definitely a thumbs up for it visually. But I'm with you in the sense in the middle. I just don't know. Like, I like Sam Mendes, but there's nothing else in the trailer that sort of caught my attention beyond the fact this visually looks like a good movie, story-wise. But anyway, so Len, what's your rating on this?
I give it a thumbs up for the trailer itself, and in terms of making it attractive and interesting to somebody to say,
You gotta
well,
do
I
some
want
with
to
the
go
other
see
thumb,
that.
Yeah, you got two thumbs.
You got 2 thumbs. You got to do something with the other
I
thumb.
see.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't tell me about the scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do anything.
with the
Any
video.
combination of thumbs.
You can do whatever you
Alright.
want with those thumbs. Well,
hang
within
on.
reason.
Yeah.
It's a family show.
Well, I'll give it a thumbs up for the presentation and making somebody who's interested in that type of thing want to go see it.
Okay.
And on the other side, I'll give it a halfway.
Okay.
Simply because it's probably not something I want to go see.
There we go. All right. Mitch, your thoughts?
I'm 1 thumbs up for a whole list of reasons, with Cumberbatch being one of them, the visually
definitely
epicness, so
Cumberbatch,
forth.
yeah.
And then I'm sideways just because it looks like something that, for the most part, it's been done already, and it's probably not a lot of interest to me, so I'll wait for it to come out on
So
Netflix.
we're all in agreement.
Yeah,
and
that's
streaming.
weird.
Wow.
Wow. All right. Well, anyways, we got to move right on to the next trailer.
So the next one is also set in the Great War. It's
And-
The Kingsman, which we've already reviewed, but a new trailer came out, and Terry really wanted to talk about the new trailer.
I really do want to talk about this
So
trailer.
can we roll trailer 2 for The Kingsman?
I think I'll lead into this a little bit. I'm a big fan of spy action films, James Bond, Mission Impossible, even as far as I think it was like The Manchurian Man with Paul Newman way back in the day.
Is that with Angela Lansbury too?
It could
Am I
be,
thinking of-
but I
I'm
love
thinking The
all-
Manchurian Candidate.
Right,
sorry.
Manchurian Candidate. Yeah, I love all sorts of spy movies. I'm all into spy action films. I'm all into spy thrillers. Anything that John le Carré wrote, And this is based off of the Kingsman series, which this is a prequel to the Kingsman series, which I never saw and didn't really want to see because it was just too bloody British, to be perfectly honest. That was my issue with the first one. It was just like, it was just too bloody British. Like, and we had a guy on the show who said, my mom's British. I said, then she ought to know, because this is like, This is like their version of Chuck Norris riding in on a pickup truck with an American flag and a machine gun in his hand. Like this is just too.
Let's just face it. I want to see that movie. But what do you think
Yes,
about this trailer?
yes, right.
This coming from a Blackadder fan?
Yes.
Oh,
Coming from
interesting.
a Blackadder fan. All right. We're cool and we're British. Yes, this is the way we do things. Yeah, tap friendly. Now my problem with this trailer. Okay, I obviously started. My problem with this trailer
It's a 3-minute trailer.
is this
about to end.
hyper-modernization of action for a period piece film, okay? And
Renee Bergeron just called you a blackguard for your comment about Two Bloody British.
Too bloody British. Blackguard, yes. All right. It is some very good visuals in it and some very good looking choreographed action, but it is too stylish for a serious film, and it is too serious for a stylish film. All right? That is directly my issue with that. It looks like it's trying to be, it's obviously trying way too hard to be cool. And though the individual sequences themselves, well choreographed fights, they do look cool. It just, to me, it's like, again, like this is too serious an era to be making something this like almost goofy. Because it is borderline just goofy the way the action is designed in it. I mean, this is like Fast and Furious style action. You know what I mean? Very well visually shot. And if it's a comic book and people are fans of the comic book, that's fine. But to me, from a filmmaker standpoint, it's too goofy to be serious. It's too serious to be goofy. So that is my opinion on this. Mitch, your thoughts on this?
Well, it's clearly a complete opposite from the film we just watched. To hear you talk about it being too goofy but not too serious, I'm like, well, the other one was too serious.
Right.
This one's trying to be a little bit goofier. It's this weird kind of balance to it. But overall, it looks really fast-paced, exciting, interesting visually, and I could go right into my ratings, but I'm going to pass the baton with those thoughts.
You know, the James Bond movies had a progression from the very first ones to what they do now. The very serious and very strong, a few jokes in there like that, funny stuff. But it gotten to the point where it's become silly. Right. A lot of the stuff has become silly. So I echo what you said.
Right. Bonds have gone like serious to silly, then back to serious to silly, and back to
silly to the point of ridiculousness. And this is kind of that. I have to agree with what you say, and I have little to add. Actually, you're right. I was thinking about that watching it. That it's just like you see all the silly stuff in there, and they're trying to be both of those things that you said.
Right.
And I would be more likely to watch 1917 than I would.
And we know from your rating, you're not likely to watch that.
That's right.
So I will say this. I agree with you because when I watched this, I thought, oh, Wild Wild West set in 1917. But I will say this. The visuals that they have of the actual war are really good. The devastation of the fields.
Yeah.
The way they're fighting.
I thought so. Yeah.
The war itself, when they're not being goofy Kingsmen, they nailed. And the blowing up of the car, that's the start of the war. And Rasputin being in it. So I will say this, they did their research when they did this. How they're going to use it, I don't know. I think it's going to be Wild Wild West. And by Wild Wild West, I mean the Will Smith version.
Right, yes.
Right, yeah, that's what I figured.
Not that there's that big of a difference, but there is a difference.
Right.
So I agree. I generally agree with you guys, except I was surprised at how well I thought they did the visuals of the war itself.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That part was very serious, and you could feel the seriousness of that. Right, that was good. That was serious, but then they have all this goofy wink, wink, hey, aren't we cool?
But it's the Kingsman. I think that's what it's supposed to be.
But that's I mean. But the first one at least was it was fake. The first one at least was based on some level of fiction, so you could accept the wink, wink. This is kind of silly, but this is World War I.
I'm just trying to remember how Rasputin actually died. I just can't.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting tangled up in the Anastasia movie where he kind of comes back to life. Anyway,
right.
We should probably go into her.
Anyways, Arnie, your ratings on this?
I'm probably going to give it like a Willy thumb because of those visuals.
All right. Mitch, your rating on this?
It looks pretty exciting, so I'm actually giving it a thumbs up for the excitement of the film, and sideways just because I don't know, war movies.
Yeah.
I'm just getting tired of them.
All right. Len?
Thumbs up because the trailer shows you what you're going to see.
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
definitely an honest trailer. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I
And
can
thumbs
feel
down because I don't want to see it.
That is true, yeah.
But
Definitely.
maybe thumbs up because it told me I don't want to see it. So.
Yeah.
Thumbs up because it told me what I was going to
Confused.
see.
You got to confuse them. Is what I'm saying.
That's honest advertising right there. I am going to give one thumb solidly down because just decide whether you're serious or silly. Like, just make up your mind with that. One thumb in the middle because it doesn't look like a terrible movie. It just looks like a movie I don't like. And that's how I, that's...
It's a movie I'm probably going to see on a day, and I'll have to admit some Vegas. I did watch that one.
Anyways, really
Me too.
quick thanks to Len Demings for sticking around for Trailer Chest and for talking about the Spin the Plate. Mitch, where can people find Spin the Plate? Was Amazon Prime available right now?
Amazon Prime, yep.
Amazon, you can get it there. You have to you do a search for it, but Spin the Plate, and it'll come up for you. And we have that Arlington.
It's Arlington, Lonely Seal, October 12th, and then in the Red River Theaters on the 12th to the 15th of November, I think, and it'll be showing all week.
All right.
Out there.
Awesome.
Up in Concord.
Well, thanks, Len. Welcome back to the show anytime.
Thank you so much. Pardon me?
I said welcome back to the show anytime.
Well, thank you for having me. I really had a lot of fun.
All right, and when we come back, we'll be talking about our little production that we did over the weekend. Early Late Night Live Show on every Wednesday night, 7 to 8, Exeter Channel 98. Right back. Yeah.
Hey, Terry, how's it going?
Hey, this laptop's having sound issues again.
Yeah, it seems to be a common theme around here.
Why would this stupid thing work?
Oh, I know, IT. Let me take a look.
I feel like this happens every week. We really need to get on top of this.
I'm sure Dan's doing the best that he can.
Yeah, Dan.
Oh, there it is. You had it muted.
I do not have it muted.
And?
Damn it, Dan. Oh, yeah. Hey, we're back.
Oh, wow.
Hi. Welcome back to the Late Night Live Show. We're on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 on Exeter Channel 98 and on our YouTube channel, the Early Late Night Live Show YouTube channel. So in the early part of the show, very beginning of the show, we played a little video edited by Kate Eppers talking about what we did this weekend. But Artie, how about you talk a little more about what we actually pulled off this weekend?
Okay, so what we pulled off this weekend was we, as you may or may not know, the dinner party was set in 1906. And the first movie was set in a house in one night. So we filmed indoors mostly in, I think, 3 rooms altogether. So this one we decided to do, and it was very, very sedate, very elegant, sort of, and in a very goofy way. And we decided we wanted to do something completely different. So we set this one outside in a fair with hundreds of, felt like hundreds of extras running around, buying candy, looking at stuff, flipping through books and things like that. And we also had a bar fight because why not? We're now a street film.
And we can't act that sophisticated for that long without someone getting punched in the face.
So what we had to do, it was actually very challenging because we had to find tents that weren't too inappropriate. We had to find 2 locations that looked period appropriate. We had to find costumes for everybody. And we had to find people to do this with, who'd be willing to be thrown around, at least on the second day. But we got back almost the entire original cast, which was great. And we added a ton of new characters to the film, which I'm really excited about. And we took this little world, we just blew it open, basically.
Right, and so for those of you who don't know, Dinner Party was about a mill that is owned by a family in town, and the basic plot of the dinner party is the family trying to get a loan for the mill so they can do necessary repairs. And it's about this family back in 1906 and sort of the ins and outs and different types of people you would have met back in America back in that sort of time. It's sort of like Downton Abbey, but funny. That's really what we did. And so it was based off of a series of books that Arnie has written. And we wanted to continue it on by doing a little short film series, and there was about 3 scripts we were working with. And I said, well, we picked this one to do the next one to follow up the film with part of the series, and that's what we did. We were able to expand the world. But from a production standpoint, I think it took us about 2 months to prep this. We learned a real lot from a production standpoint, and basically what we learned is there is not enough prep that you can do. But you have to pick a date.
Yeah.
You have to pick a date before you do anything else. Really, before you do anything else, pick a date you're going to shoot. You want to start getting stuff done, give yourself a deadline. That was what I found out to be the key, was that I said we weren't going to do this until we had to do it. And if you cleared it with a certain main cast that we needed, and we found the date, we found the location, and we said, okay, this is when we're shooting. Now we got to figure it out. I know for us, I believe most artists, correct me if I'm wrong, Mitch, really need deadlines. And so now you were there, you helped out on set, and you were kind of driving, but you were also doing your play
I did a
this
few different
weekend.
things, and I got to be in front of the camera with a new character, which was kind of fun.
Yeah.
You
So,
know. But you're right about the deadlines. I'm production managing a short for Steve Blackwood, which we first thing we did. We're doing it on this date.
Right.
So we need to get all our stuff together, and it's hugely helpful. And the amount of work that you guys had to do in 2 months with the tents and all the things that went on the tables. I mean, we didn't see any of that in the video that we were watching. We didn't really see that set. But I walked into that set. Now I've been on 6 or 7 independent film sets and a couple of major motion picture film sets, and I was blown away by the detail and the amount of work. And you guys had 100 people involved with this production.
it was,
Right? Or some
about
number
that.
like that. I mean, it
because
was.
we had like 80 people, at least 80 people this weekend, between the extras, the stuntmen, and the crew, and plus whoever people that were working behind the scenes that weren't ended up on
So
the
if
day.
you're watching, thank you so much for coming out, because we
because-
needed a lot of people to make this look right. And you guys really brought it. They brought it with their costumes. They brought it with their attitudes.
Right.
They
The
brought
extras were
It was a
They were
great set to
amazing.
work on overall. It was really just friendly and fun, and people got, they followed your leads because you're very competent leaders. You guys worked together. It was clear that you guys both had talked, and your vision was there, so it was easy to trust what was going on. I mean, I spoke up about something at one point, and I'm just like, that was dumb. I'm just going to let them do their thing. who am I in the Terry, and KJ show? But so it's a daunting task. What was the hardest part for you guys in getting all of that stuff together? Now, you didn't have a standard film crew, for all intents and purposes, production crew. You were missing a lot of elements, and which would have made things a lot harder, obviously, but at the same time, you would have, if you had a full-time costumer, if you had a full-time prop and set decoration person working for you, if you had a full-time UPM, you as a director are usually not doing those kinds of things. You as a DP are not usually doing the things. You're working out shot lists, you're doing different stuff.
I would say the thing that was the toughest was set deck.
Yeah. I spent, oh my God, the week before I was freaking out. I would just crash and I'd be high, then I'd crash and I'd be high, and then I'd crash.
Arnie's not talking about being high on drugs. She's happy, right? Just so
I was
you guys
like-
know.
In other words, it was caffeine buzz,
Oh
no
my God,
caffeine
yeah, I
buzz,
just kept crashing. But the funniest thing was, the whole story centers around this piece of jewelry that goes missing and is accidentally donated to this
we almost
rummage
lost
sale.
Oh, right,
on the day.
yeah.
We did almost lose the
Oh,
piece
snap.
of jewelry, but there was a time where it was just like, but we needed a ton of jewelry to hide that piece of jewelry, and I don't have a lot. So I just put on my Facebook page, if anyone has junk jewelry, I need it. And we actually got a church to donate. They collected jewelry for a fundraiser, and they donated their fundraising jewelry to us.
Which
to
was funny
use
because the plot was this jewelry was being sold at a church
at a
rummage
church
sale.
fundraiser,
right?
yeah,
So,
for
that's
for the
serendipitous.
orphans. So
That's right, it's for the orphans. We heard that on set a lot.
Yeah,
That was pretty funny.
For the orphans. The most difficult thing, for me.
we had a great costume designer, Phoebe Roberts.
Yeah, Phoebe Roberts.
I know
She
you
did
did
the
have
main
somebody
cast.
working in that
Yeah.
side of
Yeah.
things, which is huge.
Yeah, she
That was
made-
huge.
She made such a big difference there. The hardest thing for me was, I would say, just the schedule was probably, because actually, by and large, on the day, it was just a lot of stuff we had to do. Nothing was particularly difficult. There wasn't one particular thing, it was just a lot of it.
Sure.
Took like 3 or 4 truckloads of I got a big Suburban that I use for my Narrow Street film signs
And
on
a
it.
trailer
And a
to
trailer.
attach to it. You had to do 3 runs from that
I
day?
did 3 truckloads and 1 trailer load of props to bring to the first set, the fair set. And then there was a bar fight scene, and it was 1 trailer and barely a truckload. So it was so much less stuff
Nice,
for
yeah.
the bar fight.
Wow.
So the hardest thing was just making sure that we had the time to set things up. I mean, the other thing was this was outdoors. So we were really nervous about the fact, what if we got rained out?
What time did you start on Saturday morning? Because your call time was 7:30
Well,
a.m.
we spent the whole
Yeah.
day Friday setting
Okay.
up, and then we had stuff staged to set up. So I got it to set. If you're watching, Pat, I'm sorry I woke you quite early. I got the set like 6:15 in the morning on Saturday morning to get the sets set up. Yeah, the most difficult thing because I was in front of the camera too. I was acting.
Yeah,
So bouncing back
that's
and
right.
forth and trying to keep my suit from getting dirty. Because usually me and Arnie will split at some point. Either she's in front of the camera and I'll stay behind the camera, or vice versa. But we, unfortunately, one of our actresses had to call out at the last minute, and we hope she'll work with us again. And Arnie had to actually step into a role. And so there was a point where both me and Arnie were in costume and jumping back and forth in front and behind the camera, which wasn't the best situation.
See, that's an interesting thing about us that I think doesn't happen a lot is that people work in front of and behind the camera, but we all have that in common.
Yes,
I've
it's
done
all
it
three of
3 or
us
4
do that.
times
right,
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
In the same production.
Because I feel like Terry's really good
that
at
same
the
day, all three of
And
us
the
were
same-
behind the
that
camera.
same day.
Yeah.
Camera. Yeah,
But I think
Saturday,
you had the only scene that made Terry go, aw.
yeah.
I'm glad I can inspire sadness in people. That's great.
Jen Levitt says, eek, so early. Yes, it was quite early in the morning.
Oh,
being
Bob
on set.
Turanjo said, fun. Bob Turanjo played our mayor,
Yes.
our beleaguered mayor,
Yes.
whose daughter is a, I wouldn't say fiery suffragette, but a passionate
Suffragette who's trying to
Suffragist.
literally- suffragist who's standing up against him.
Yes,
Even
I
though
even
she
made a
loves him.
sign. Yeah, she does love him. Yes.
Right.
Bob's
But-
such a good dude. I love having Bob on set because he's just so like, yeah, I'm here on set. This is a great time. I'm loving life, and it's awesome. So no matter what he's doing.
Yeah.
Well, I want to give a quick shout out to Ryan, our guy who's actually every week on the show, tech guy, who was great. Who did camera work on the dinner party, and his camera work got so much better this time. And I mean, he was good in the dinner party, and it got that much better with this
Cool.
film.
Sure.
This is one of the few films I looked at the dailies and thought these are almost just good as is. Like really, just they were really spectacularly good dailies. And Joe Castricone, who also helped out with the dinner party, came in to do camera work. Adam Griswold of Smoking Bottle Production, who's been a guest on the show quite often, worked his ass off, just having me yell at him all day long to do sound. It's great having him.
Yeah, he
Dan
ran
Graham.
camera, and then when I had to go switch over, he ran sound.
Yep.
So.
And Dan Graham, of course, Phoebe Roberts, and of course the awesome
Did
cast.
Dan do behind the camera stuff too?
Dan was, Dan
Yeah,
was
Dan
helping
He was
set
plenty
up.
back.
And then we had
so-
2 great PAs,
These are the crew.
Tajura and Jackie. They
Tajura
were-
and Jackie,
right.
yep.
Yeah, they kept everything running smoothly behind the scenes, and we had an awesome cast. I mean, the cast just came in and really brought it home.
I love extras that are willing to speak up, and that's what I love. The extras were adding stuff to their bits, and that made my life. That was so much fun for me. There's a lot of sets you be on. Extras are told to be quiet, and I like the fact that extras were these.
Because we had Artemis Crow, who's going to be our guest on October 30th. It was her first
that's
film
right.
set.
Yeah.
And I was walking by and said, "Are you having a good time?" She said, "Yes, I'm slapping the hands of all the children that try to touch the stuff
This
on my
is really,
table."
yeah. I got to talk with her while we were hanging out by her jewelry table, and she's like, "I want to do more. This is so much fun."
Yeah, so she really
was
brought
cool.
it home too. Like,
And final shout out though, because we're got to start wrapping the show. We got to give a shout out to the stunt guys.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Jonathan Brummy, who came in at the last minute, who was a stuntman on Chance. James Payne and Justin Fortin, who had landed from LA and they got in a car and drove to set. They had just came back from a premiere in LA, and they drove to set, and both of them worked Saturday and Sunday, especially Sunday, doing a lot of stunt work. Obviously, my
And
brother,
Ruben, who fell off.
Right.
Yeah.
Ruben,
Yeah.
yep. Who did stunt work? Danny Felix. Who else was there? I mean, it was Peter, Carey, Dan, Rob.
You had 100 people involved. It's not going to remember them
so
all,
many
but
people, but these stunt guys and these extras did such a good job, and just made it such a pure joy. And of course, Ian McFarlane, who came in to play Foreman Gorman, and Chris Doobie, who came in to play Lawless.
stick handler.
Oh my
Stick
gosh.
handler. Yes, the stick
Yeah,
handler.
Lawless was how I think I sold this short film to Terry. Gorman was the tipping point last time.
Right, yes.
But Foreman Lawless was, I think, what
Yes.
made you think this
Essentially,
is
Chris
gonna be good.
Doobie playing a goofy version of Bill the Butcher from Gangs of New York.
He even grew a mustache for the part, and I actually have a photo of him. The minute he found out he was done, he was shaving it off.
Yes, I guess it was quite uncomfortable. So,
So we appreciate it, Chris.
Bob Turnjo says, awesome stunt guys. Yeah, the stunt guys really really just did such a great job and had so much enthusiasm.
Yeah,
No
I'm
one got
sorry
it.
to miss that fight scene.
It was
Training
really
alone
good.
was fun. I can imagine what the fight scene looked like. So now I
It's
can't
really
wait to
good.
see it.
It was just
really good. And I could say that because I didn't coordinate any of it. I just.
And one of the smart things you guys did, by the way, was use multiple cameras,
Yeah.
which gave you the opportunity to set up one shot and do it once and not have to move a camera around.
Yeah,
That
we
was
shot a lot with
like
three
cameras.
Three cameras,
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
because we had a lot of pages to get through.
Oh, but we should give a shout out to Scumpy who allowed me to basically throw a pie in his face.
Yes,
Yep.
Scumpy.
We appreciate you, Scumpy.
It's gonna be. Anyways, we are running over time for this for today. Thank you, Lynn Demings, for coming in to the show tonight. Thank you, everyone who helped out this weekend for the fair fight. We will be doing more episodes of Felsen and Company. Mitch Forty has something to say. He's pointing a finger at me.
Can I put you guys on the spot? Are you coming to see me in Hamlet, Milford
Yeah,
this
I hope
weekend?
so.
I
Yeah.
hope. Yes,
I think Sunday. I think I'm coming Sunday.
All right.
Cool. I won't
Yeah.
cry if you're not there. I'm just saying.
You totally will cry if I'm not there.
But
Don't
you
worry.
guys don't want to miss this sword fight. I'm telling you, it's
Don't
epic.
give me that sad look. Don't give me, I can't deal with it.
That's right. I'll break your heart again.
And whether or not we go, you guys should totally go see him in Hamlet.
Yes, we'll
And
drop the-
check out the sword fight.
We'll drop the links in the Facebook group and in the link below.
I just want to say thank you to Bob, Kate, and Renee who really brought it home for the fair fight. We're bringing you
Thank you,
guys
thank you,
back.
thank you.
We love you all. So.
Yes. All right. We got to go, folks. We got to go. And we'll see you next week on the Early Late Night Live Show. Wednesday night, 7 to 8. We'll be back. Take care. Hey, you made it. Thank you for watching our show. And be sure to join us next week at 7 p.m. on our YouTube channel, the Early Late Night Live Show in Exeter, Channel 98.
And if you have any questions or want to be a guest on the show, you can email killarneyt@gmail.com. There might be a link or some info somewhere around here.
Below. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe on Facebook and YouTube. You won't regret it.
We
They
hope.
won't regret it.
Yeah.
Terry Trainer Show. There's some things